Okay, well, good afternoon. I'm glad to have everybody on board. We've got a good number of people that have joined us today. This is the second of two webinars that I've done on our EA Bootcamp. And the question I always like to ask people at the very beginning is it time to take the next step? Are you ready to become an enrolled agent? If so, we're going to help you find the pathway, the right tools, and the incentive to go ahead and get started and begin today. There are new practice restrictions that go into effect beginning January 1st. And this is straight from Pub 947. It says beginning January 1st, 2016, only unenrolled return preparers who hold a record of completion for both the tax return year 2015 or thereafter under examination and the year of the examination is conducted may represent their clients before the IRS. In other words, and we'll talk about the level of representation in just a minute. In other words, if you don't have the minimum of the annual filing season program record of completion, you will not be able to contact the IRS in any way, shape, or form for your clients. Now, in terms of what this level of representation is, unenrolled return preparers, in other words, those that do have the AFSP designation, may represent taxpayers only before revenue agents, customer service representatives, or similar officers and employees of the IRS, including the Taxpayer Advocate Service. So you're limited to the very lowest levels of contact. You can also represent them during an examination of the taxable year or period that's covered by you that you've prepared and signed. So if somebody comes to you and you've not prepared their tax return, you cannot represent them at all, even if you have the annual filing season program certificate of completion. Unenrolled preparers may not represent taxpayers regardless of the circumstances requiring representation before appeals officers, revenue officers, counsel, or similar officers or employees of the Internal Revenue Service or the Department of Treasury. And again, these are the brand new guidelines that the IRS has come out with. This is in reaction to the Loving versus the IRS lawsuit of a couple of years ago, where the district court determined that the IRS could not regulate tax preparers. But at the point where a tax preparer actually wants to contact the IRS, that constitutes practice, and as such, they do have the right to regulate that. And so they've stiffened the requirements for representing people at any level. So consider the benefits of taking that next step and becoming an enrolled agent. First of all, you get increased credibility. Everyone who passes the annual filing season program is listed in the designation for the IRS on their website. Anyone who's not passed that or is not a credentialed individual, enrolled agent, attorney, or so forth, will not be listed there. So it does give you increased credibility of being able to say you're one of 50,000 out of 700,000 preparers who have the designation of enrolled agent. It also gives you expanded revenue streams to where you can represent not only your clients, but other clients before the IRS and help them resolve collection issues, audit issues, or other concerns that may come up with their IRS account. And also, you have increased income potential. There's a study that was done by an online company that does placements, and they determined that the average earning potential for an enrolled agent is comparable to that of a CPA. So as we go along and we look at this increased credibility that's available to you, enrolled agents are recognized by the IRS as America's tax experts. They have unrestricted practice rights before the IRS. In my practice, I do tax education and I do tax resolution. I do not do tax preparation. And as such, In my resolution side, I've got clients that I'm actively working in California and in Florida. So, regardless of jurisdiction, wherever the IRS has an office, I can represent somebody. And so I do the vast majority of my work with people from a remote standpoint. It also gives you enhanced status with your clients. You have a legitimate credential that sets you apart from other tax preparers that are out there in the tax arena. It also gives you expanded revenue streams. You can represent taxpayers at audits. You can act on behalf of taxpayers regardless of their location, and you can expand your tax practice to a year-round service to where you can have an ongoing revenue stream, not just in the 4 months of the tax season. So we're introducing what we call our Tax Pro EZ EA Bootcamp. It's presented in conjunction with Fast Forward Academy. We are not part of Fast Forward Academy, but as it says in our banner at the bottom, we're a value-added partner with Fast Forward Academy. I spend a little bit of each day on the phone talking with my contact folks at Fast Forward Academy because we sell a number of their programs, but this particular program is one that we sell separate from Fast Forward Academy. However, we use their material in conjunction with our program. I need to make sure that everybody understands that. Um, we do provide live interaction to build on the learning experience provided with the Fast Forward Academy online platform. We integrate that into our coursework, and we'll talk about that a little bit more as we go through. But we provide a value-added service to help people get through the hump of passing the enrolled agent exams. Our format is 2 hours of live online content review each week with an emphasis on the challenging areas, guidance on utilizing the Fast Forward Academy tools, and to provide feedback and accountability for the individuals that are involved in the boot camp. And we'll talk about the schedule in just a little bit. We also are constantly looking at trends within the Fast Forward Academy community to find the areas where tax preparers are struggling the most so that we can add additional emphasis on those areas to help you pass the exam. You'll also be involved in 6 to 8 hours per week, depending on your schedule, when you're doing that directly in the Fast Forward Academy online system. Now, some of you may take a little extra time in order to keep up. Some of you may be very familiar material, and it may take you a little less time. But we ask people to be prepared to spend 6 to 8 hours per week in the Fast Forward Academy online system. So that means you're committing about 10 hours a week to passing the parts of the enrolled agent exam. You have extensive phone and email support. You can either contact me or you can contact Fast Forward Academy. We work seamlessly in terms of supporting our people, in terms of their online access and answering any questions that they might have. And then our course schedules, part 1 starts October 1st, next Thursday, a week from this Thursday. It will run for 5 weeks. It'll be a total of 10 hours of time online, plus your time offline doing your other work. It'll be 6 to 8 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Part 2 will also be starting on October 1st. It is a daytime class for those who are wanting to pass Part 2, and it's 12 hours because it is 6 sessions. Part 2 is the harder session for people to pass, and so we spend a little bit of additional time on that. And then Part 3 follows immediately after Part 1 at 6 to 8 p.m. Central Daylight Time, starting November 5th and going through the 19th, and that is only 3 sessions. And we'll talk a little bit about pass rates and ease of passing the various parts in just a second, but that's a 3-week session. Our recommended strategy is that as a minimal strategy, you focus first on part one. Part one gives you a 2-year exemption from the AFSP program. That's the annual filing season program, but it gives you a 2-year exemption from having to take that 6-hour class with a 3-hour exam. This substitutes for that for 2 years. It has a very high first time pass rate of 97% when people utilize the Fast Forward Academy track in order to pass that. Our preferred strategy is to work on parts 1 and 3. You still get the 2-year exemption. The highest pass rate is for part 3 because a lot of that is more intuitive. And my recommended approach for people that are getting ready to sit for the enrolled agent exam is to schedule parts 3 and 1 on the same day in subsequent sessions. And by taking part 3 first, you're utilizing the system for the easiest part of the enrolled agent C exam series, the 3-test series, and that gives you an opportunity to get comfortable with the Prometric Testing Center, which is where all testing is done for the special enrollment exam. It gives you an opportunity to go in, get comfortable with that environment. When you go into that environment for any of the 3 exams, you'll only walk in with a pencil, a piece of paper, and a calculator. You have to know the material. You have to own the material. And that's part of the reason we recommend the 6 to 8 hours a week of additional time plus the the camp. Once you've completed that, the unique thing about the Prometric system is when you walk out of the exam, you've already completed it on the computer system. When you walk through the door, it will be printing a certificate either saying congratulations or regrets that you didn't pass that part. That gives you great accomplishment feedback because the pass rate for part 3 is so high. And by using our system and being prepared when you go in, that should not be any issue at all. At that point, you're then able to go back in immediately if you want to. You can take a short break or you can wait until your next scheduled time and go in to take part 1. I'll just share this from personal experience. When I passed the exams, I took part 1 and part 3 and was finished with both parts and out of there in a total of 2 hours. And you're allowed 3.5 hours to take the exam. But you should know the material well enough to go in, to go through one pass and answer all of the questions that you're sure of, and then come back through and work on the ones that are you're not quite as sure of, and have a relatively good knowledge that you're going to be able to succeed on the exams. And we'll talk about that as we go through the boot camp in terms of how to know exactly when you're ready. And we cover all of that in each course. And then we also conclude each course with some tips on test making. The registration cost for this, now again, this is in addition to the cost for your Fast Forward Academy Smart Bundle. So once you've passed that, or once you've purchased that, these are the costs just for the boot camp session. The part 1 is 5 2-hour sessions for $199. Part 2 are 6 2-hour sessions for $249. Part 3 is 3 2-hour sessions for $129. And when you buy multiple courses, multiple boot camps, you do get a discount off that. Also, if you need to purchase the Fast Forward Academy Smart Bundle, we offer a package discount that gives you an additional discount off that package as well as our course, and that can save you as much as $100. The Boot Camp Advantage, it helps you establish a SMART goal. I teach at the college level, both undergraduate and graduate, and I always teach my students about SMART goals. SMART goals are specific, they're measurable, they're attainable, they're relevant, and they're time dimensioned, because we will help you set up a target date when you're going to be passing your exams, when you're going to be taking your exams. And our tools, there's a dashboard within the Fast Forward Academy that gives you a scorecard to tell you when you're ready to take the exam. And by following the guidelines that are in there, also following the study guidelines for the areas where you need help, you have a very, very high 97% plus probability of passing the exam. But it also provides live coaching and interaction. So if you're struggling with one section, we can cover that, because each one of the boot camp sessions will have some time at the end for questions and answers. It also provides accountability. You're working together with a team, with other people, and it provides that accountability that is also important in any academic type of endeavor. And it defeats procrastination. You've got a set date. You're working towards that date. I hear every day. I got a phone call from a young lady just yesterday, and she said, "You know, Gary, I purchased the Smart Bundle in 2013, and it's been sitting on my shelf. It's been sitting on my computer, and I haven't done anything at all with it." She said, "I need the discipline to help me go through this in a systematic way." As an additional bonus, about a month ago, the IRS allowed us to offer a special bonus of continuing education hours for anyone that goes through the boot camp and are in any CPREP. We're actually the only company that I'm aware of that is offering this credit for an online boot camp. But you can earn up to 12 hours of continuing education credit for tax practitioners participating in the CPREP program this year. And we can provide an opportunity for you to earn this CE credit by attendance in one or more of our boot camps. And please remember, you must own or purchase the Fast Forward Academy Smart Bundle in order to participate in our boot camps. Now, some people own the online bundle. It's not quite as strong a bundle, but it will still work with the boot camp. And for complete information and pricing, you can go to our website. Again, this video will be up there later this afternoon. And our website is www.taxproez.com. If you've got any questions, please feel free to call me. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, 615-562-1903. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions.